Nothing says Christmas like a crazy robot body trying to kill people. Well, sorry this is a bit late, but better late than never, and I will be doing my best and worst movies of the years, but I thought I'd get this done first. Oh, and before I start, I will be doing the return of the Random Pod with an episode about Stephen Moffat and him leaving. But anyway, the Series 9 Christmas special. Wow. This is definitely one of those family-friendly Christmas specials, because it was on about 5:15, which is breaking most of the Series 8 and 9, which was dark and more adult-type Doctor Who thing. But we did get a very child-friendly, family-friendly way of decapitation. Never thought I'd be saying that sentence out loud. Anyway, the cast. Peter Capaldi returns as the Doctor. He's just great as always, and it's nice to see him without Clara. Just to see how this Doctor would act, because we haven't seen him. Well, we've seen him for one episode without Clara, and that's, well, 2 episodes really. And that's it. We haven't actually seen him completely. No hope of getting her back. Just her on her own. Or him on his own. And that's about it. We do also get, since 2013, so 2 years before this episode came out, 3 years now, River Song as Alex Kingston, this is probably her last televised appearance. I know we're getting Big Finish audio productions, but this is probably her last TV episode, because, well, they're at Darillium, unless they do an episode based around those 24 years in that one night. Anyway, on to one of this year's Christmas guest stars, Matt Lucas as Nardole, who was one of the main selling points, but really all he does is grow nervously, say some comic relief, and then just gets decapitated. He doesn't really have much to do. The next guest star that was massively advertised was Greg Davis, who plays King Hydroflax's head. That was good, and I mean, it's nice to see him do a more serious role, because it's funny how I had this feeling that he's probably, Greg Davis, if you don't know, he's really tall, so he's probably the tallest guy on set, and then they put him on a robot body to make him the tallest character on the show, which is kind of funny. Anyway, he does a good job, and a northern villain. Never thought I'd see that on Doctor Who. A northern villain. Next we have Philip Reese as Ramon. He again doesn't do much. He just says a bunch of stuff about the damsel. Doesn't really need to be there, but then again, it's called The Husbands of Riversong, so why the hell not have 3? Fleming, played by Rowan Polinsky. He's good. I mean, he's basically there to rant about all the stuff in Riversong's diary. And he says it. Yeah, he's pretty much the character that's do anything to save his own life. Which he does. Well, I say he does. He doesn't get his head chopped off, but then again, he dies in a crashing spaceship. Then we have Scratch, played by Anthony Cousins. No idea. He's good. I liked him. Very apt name. And, well, he's basically the buyer who'll then do anything to get what he wanted. That's a thing. Then we have, well, Stephen Moffat wrote this episode, one of his last. Better than his other two stories, I'd say. Well, definitely better than Heaven Sent. No, not Heaven Sent, Hell Bent. I always get those two confused because the castle, to me, would seem more like hell than heaven, but anyway. And Douglas McKinnon directed. Funnily enough, these two both did the Sherlock special, and I was right. I said in the Hellbent review that Stephen Moffat put more effort into the Sherlock special, and I was right. That was brilliant. And Douglas McKinnon managed to direct both just as well. And finally, the voice of Hydroflax's body, who weirdly isn't credited, at least not on the place I get mine from, Liam Cook. He's good. Like, as a body, he's good. He does most of the main villain, which is odd because you don't really have a main villain that's just a body. Anyway, onto the episode. It is pretty good. I mean, it's not award-winning. It's not going to change the way we look at Doctor Who forever, and it's definitely not revolutionary or anything. But as I said, it's good family entertainment on Christmas Day, which is pretty much what a Doctor Who Christmas special should be. Because, well, it's a Doctor Who Christmas special, and most people, I know I do, most people for the Christmas TV mainly look at Doctor Who. But I'll tackle the elephant in the room, which is the Christmas titles. Now, last year they did Christmas titles, but it really was just snowy transitions. This time they've gone full out, because the start of the title sequence is snow, the names could snow, the frosty clock and TARDIS again, but this time the planets are baubles. Now, I'll say this now, as long as the episode's enjoyable, I don't mind an overly gimmicky title sequence, like the Flash mid-season Christmas episode had, like, a Christmassy title card, where they just added snowballs and a jingle bells, which was good. That was a good episode, and same here, it's enjoyable, but I don't mind having a stupidly gimmicky title sequence. If the episode was rubbish, then I'd totally be the opposite direction, but as long as the episode's good, I don't mind. And talking of the episode, most of the episode, it could have explored River getting used to the Doctor's new body, but that's kind of rushed in the last 15 minutes, because she spends most of the episode not knowing who the Doctor is. Which is great, because it allows Peter Capaldi to do the best thing he's ever done in this series, or at least the funniest, which is reacting to TARDIS being bigger on the inside. And he goes, that's the most over-the-top I've seen him ever. Because Zygella was brilliant, but this, I don't know what his direction was. I swear he might as well have just been told, alright, go crazy. Because he's just basically shouting it's bigger on the inside. And he's practically screaming at him. Because River must have known. No normal guy would go, my whole grip of the universe has been changed forever. They usually just go, it's bigger on the inside. But it's nice to see how the Doctor would do it properly. And Talking of which, talking of River, it's nice to see what she does when the Doctor's not around. Because obviously she doesn't know the Doctor's there. So it's nice to see what each other do. And it's funny when River sometimes steals TARDIS and the Doctor doesn't even know. And she knows what some of the controls do. And the Doctor doesn't. And when did she get a drinking cabinet behind one of the round things? And Doctor's face when he found that out. Also, I wonder what other controls the Doctor didn't know what does, because we've practically been told he's, well, ruined Deck 7, so what else? The plot here, it's basically the Doctor and River being chased around by a robot body trying to get his head. And I know it's an AI, and sometimes AIs are common in sci-fi, but I've never seen an AI with a recommendation to chill. Or close your eyes if you're scared of heights. That is just amazing. Like, they could have just said, deal with it, but instead, or relax, but they just put it in the best way they could have. But some of the characters here, they're just there to move it along, like Ramon and Nardole, they're basically there for heads. And Fleming and Scratch are there for that scene in the cruise liner where they're talking about River's diary. And it's good when the Doctor Who puts little details in about the future, like the crash of the Byzantium has been made into a movie. I actually want to see that, because I have a funny thing it'd be like the Titanic. And obviously the scene where Scratch wants to get the diamond. That is the classic, we've messed up, how do we get out of this one scene? But I feel like we should talk about the villain. Liam Cook does a good performance, but he's just essentially a voice for a body. And he's not like an alien that can clone himself. He's not some guy with superpowers, he's just a body. And then again, a body who takes other people's heads. They can't really do much with that, but they managed to fill it with an hour, which is decent. They could have just had him walk around and shoot things with somebody's head just going, no, stop it, while it shoots things. So it's good they managed to be inventive a bit. Also, was I the only one that thought this kind of relationship between the River and the Doctor, I would have thought this episode would have been, first 15 minutes she has no idea, then she recognises him, and then they try and figure out where to go from there, instead of get it all done in 15 minutes. So I hope River makes another appearance with Capaldi, at least not Capaldi guest star on one of her audio adventures. That would help. But I have to give credit to Stephen Moffat. He's done something I'd never thought he'd do. He managed to make something stupider than the Sonic sunglasses. A Sonic trowel. Wow. I know she's an archaeologist, but wow. Well, at least this time he managed to make something stupid intentionally, unlike Sonic sunglasses. Talking of Sonics, the Doctor's new Sonic, we barely see it, which is strange. Because I feel like we should have seen that more. And the ending, it's a good ending, I have to admit, where the Doctor pretty much sets up the day on Beryllium from scratch. Totally from scratch. Like, he gets that guy to build a restaurant, then he gets a reservation for 4 years. And We may have just seen the last televised appearance of River, but as long as Capaldi, I hope Capaldi guest stars in one of her audio adventures, so we can get a bit more about that. Because the audio adventures are called The Diary of River Song, so why not have an entry about that night on Darillium? Because it lasts 24 years. There's got to be something worth a Big Finish production in those 24 years. And trust the Doctor to make the last night he ever sees this River before she dies, to find a planet with the longest night possible. It's just things like that. You won't see it until it's coming. And then it makes perfect sense. So, overall, this episode, the comedy, brilliant. Capaldi and Alex Kingston, brilliant. Supporting characters, they're good. And the villain, well, the villain's death. He's good, but the villain's death. He shoots his own head, which I'm surprised nobody made a comment about that being really embarrassing. And then he just gets destroyed by some kind of futuristic credit card thing. But it is, as I said, it's a robot body and it's a Christmas special. He's not gonna carry on as a two-part, and he's not gonna be part of a run-along storyline. It's just for a Christmas special, so he does his job. So overall, I give this episode a 7 out of 10. It's a good episode, great for family entertainment, and we finally get to see Capaldi with River Song. So, 2016, no Doctor Who until a Christmas special. And then 2017, Capaldi, Stephen Moffat's last series. And then 2018, Chris Chibnall's first series as head writer. We have a jam-packed 2 years as soon as we get to 2017. Until then, we basically go away until Christmas. Which is a bit annoying. I mean, at least with Russell T Davies we got a few specials, but no. But anyway, at least if you're watching Doctor Who, you probably got all the DVDs, so you can basically just marathon all of them back to back until Christmas. So, until Christmas this year, I'll see you next time. See you then.